The forest edge was quiet. Daniel Crow crouched in the undergrowth, scanning the shadows with sharp, tired eyes. His pack was heavy with the day's hunt: 2 skinned game birds, a basket of roots and berries, and a pouch of dried rations from the colony storehouse. It wasn't much, but he'd learned that little and often kept the alien family alive. He waited, listening. A faint rustle stirred near the hollowed tree trunk, and then a pair of wide eyes peeked out. "Hello, Kiri," Daniel whispered. The small alien child stepped forward cautiously. Her skin shimmered faint blue in the fading light, and she clutched a woven doll against her chest. Behind her, the shape of a taller figure emerged: the mother. Her name was Sail. She carried herself with a dignity that hadn't faded even through hardship. Her hair, silken strands of silver black, framed a face marked by sorrow and strength. She met Daniel's gaze with quiet caution. "You came again," she said, voice musical but edged with disbelief. Daniel nodded, lowering the pack at her feet. "I promised I would." Kiri squealed softly as she peeked into the bag, eyes glowing at the sight of food. Sail touched her daughter's shoulder, murmuring something in their native tongue before turning back. "You should not risk so much for us," Sail said. "Your people would not approve." Daniel gave a weary smile. "Maybe not, but my people aren't the ones with empty stomachs." It had begun weeks ago. The colony on the Los 4 was struggling. The planet was harsh: storms, scarce game, unpredictable soil. And the settlers had little love for the native population. The aliens were dismissed as ferals, their culture brushed aside, their people pushed deeper into the forests. Daniel, a hunter by trade, had been the first to find them. He'd stumbled across Sail and her daughter huddled in a ruined shelter after a storm. They were weak, starving, too proud to beg for aid. He'd left food the first night, then the next, and the next after that. Soon a routine had formed. Hunt, gather, share. A quiet rhythm between man and strangers. At first, Sail kept her distance, but slowly the barrier between them thinned. She began to greet him, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence that felt less like suspicion and more like trust. And little Kiri ran to him every time, laughing with the unguarded joy only a child could hold. On the 7th evening, Sail spoke more freely. "You do this out of guilt," she said as they sat by the fire outside her shelter. The flames painted her features in warm light. Daniel shook his head. "Not guilt. Choice." "Your people took much from mine," she pressed. "You owe us nothing?" "Maybe I do," Daniel admitted, poking at the fire with a stick. "But that's not why I come. I come because Kiri smiles when she eats. Because you hold your head high even when you're hungry. Because someone should." Sail studied him, her expression unreadable. Then she asked quietly, "And what do you lose by helping us?" Daniel gave a small laugh. "Mostly sleep." She didn't smile, but her gaze softened. As the days grew colder, his visits became survival itself. Storms swept across the forest, forcing game to burrow deep. Daniel worked twice as hard, sometimes returning with bruises and cuts, but never empty-handed. One night, after a brutal storm, he arrived soaked to the bone. Sail met him at the entrance, eyes widening as she saw his shivering form. "You'll die if you keep this up," she scolded, pulling him toward the fire. Daniel chuckled weakly. "Wouldn't be the first time I danced with death." Sail wrapped a thick fur around his shoulders. Her hands lingered for a moment longer than necessary. For the first time, Daniel felt warmth not just from the fire. Kiri curled into his side that night, her small body pressing against his. And as she drifted to sleep, Sail sat across from him, silent but watching. The bond grew in unspoken ways. Kiri began calling him Dalen, a word Sale explained meant bringer of life. Sale herself began speaking more of her past, her clan scattered by colonists, her husband lost to sickness, her struggle to keep Kiri alive when the world turned hostile. Daniel listened, his chest aching with a mixture of anger and admiration. "You're stronger than any colonist I know," he told her one night. She tilted her head, eyes gleaming in the firelight. "And yet, you carry us as if we were fragile." "Because you're worth carrying," he said simply. But rumors began to spread in the colony. Hunters whispered of Daniel's absences, of his dwindling catches. Supplies went missing from the storehouse. One evening, his overseer confronted him. "You've been feeding the natives," the man accused. "If you keep this up, you'll bring trouble down on all of us." Daniel's jaw tightened. "They're starving. What kind of men are we if we look the other way?" "We're survivors," the overseer snapped. "And they're not our kind." Daniel walked away before his temper boiled over. But the words stuck, gnawing at him. That night, as he delivered food, Sale noticed the shadow in his eyes. "They know," she guessed. Daniel nodded. "It won't be long before they act. Then you must stop coming." He shook his head fiercely. "Not while you need me." Sale's voice dropped. "And when they cast you out? When they hunt you?" Daniel looked at her, then at Kiri sleeping peacefully. His answer was quiet but firm. "Then I'll stay here." The next morning he made his choice. He arrived not with a pack of food, but with everything he owned. His bow, his hunting knives, his few blankets, his father's journal. Sale's eyes widened. "Daniel, what are you doing?" He set his pack down in her shelter, then faced her with a steady gaze. "I've been coming here every day, bringing what I could. But I don't want to be someone who just leaves food and disappears into the night." He took a breath, his voice rough with emotion. "I don't want to just keep you alive, Sale. I want to live with you. With Kiri. If you'll have me." For the first time, her composure cracked. Her lips parted, her hands trembling as she stepped closer. "You would bind yourself to us? To me?" Daniel nodded. "Forever." There was silence, only the forest breathing around them. Then Sale reached out, her hand brushing his cheek. "You are a fool," she whispered. "Probably," he said with a half-smile. Her lips curved faintly. Then she leaned in, pressing her forehead to his in the gesture of her people's bond. "Then you are our fool." That night, the fire burned brighter. Kiri danced around them, laughing, oblivious to the weight of what had changed. Daniel sat beside Sale, her hand entwined with his. For the first time in years, he felt no division between duty and heart. He had been a provider, a silent shadow who left food in the dark. But now he was more: father, partner, protector. As the stars pierced the canopy, Sale spoke softly, her head resting against his shoulder. "You never stopped bringing us food," she said. "Now you've brought yourself." Daniel smiled, pressing a kiss to her hair. "And I'm not leaving."